Okay, it's the middle of the week, and I think we've got one more day of looking back at the draw at Ibrox. We may do a little bit of looking forward as well with Jackie McNamara. Jackie, lovely to have you back on the channel. It's like the good old days. We're talking about a Celtic Rangers game, but a positive result. What was your assessment of the game on Monday?
Um, I think the end it was good to obviously get the point. It was important. I think we played a lot better in games, but the games they are different. That's you can't expect to go and control everything and have the ball all the time and play like normal. You're going in there with the majority of fans on their side and everything else. So I think at a good point in the end, I think Ange knows that the team can play better and do better. But uh, yeah, I think that's important. But the thing that they didn't lose it.
Yeah, Callum McGregor touched on that after the game as well. He said that it's important when you don't play well that you don't lose. Do you think Ange got his starting 11 wrong?
Um, Again, in hindsight, it's easy looking back and say they could have done this or that. I think he knows more than what we do. I think behind the scenes, what players, Juranovic being the prime example. You'll know what players are, you can put in at that point, or there's talk of them there, or some looking to go, or players coming in, and whether that physically as well as mentally. So, I think it's just the trust is there in the manager that he'll make the decisions and he'll make decisions to change it if he thinks it needs that, which he does. He doesn't mess about with his subs. He's going to make subs every game. But I think obviously with Taylor going off changed things a little bit as well. Having to change there and put Janovic over to the left hand side. It was different from before.
We got a question in actually to do with Juranovic. Could you ask Jackie to comment on Juranovic's mentality? Has a distraction of a potential move crept into his head and caused him to protect himself during the derby in the form of not committing to tackles where normally he wouldn't think twice? I've heard noise about him being unwell, but I'm not buying it. We'll maybe come back to the bug stuff in a wee minute because I think there is maybe something in that. What's your take on the whole Juranovic situation at the moment?
To be honest, I kind of expect him to be away before. There was talk there even before he went to World Cup that he was leaving. And Celtics went out already, and during the World Cup they've bought Johnston. Looks a good player. So I think it's negotiation time, obviously between the clubs, whoever's going to take him and getting the right Celtic getting the right price. I think that was always going to be the case as soon as he went to World Cup. So yeah, there will be an element there. I mean, he's human, about like, what if I get a bad injury here? What's there? And even if it'll be in his mind. Some players just get on with things, some don't. But if he's on the verge of a big move, last thing he wants to do is pick up an injury. And sometimes you can see that, and sometimes they don't go in for certain things. But every player is different. I don't know the guy personally, but I'm surprised the deal's not been done already. That he's away because Celtic's already got a replacement for him.
Yeah, I mean, I personally said this after the game. I don't feel like it was an attitude thing directly. I don't think he's turned up thinking, I'm not going to put in a show in here or whatever. I just think, as you say, subconsciously, if you feel you're going to get a move, and I think almost everyone feels that Juranovic is going to be away this month, then maybe you're not going to go into challenges in the same way that someone like Alistair Johnson would have. What do you want to see happen now with Juranovic?
No, I think for the club, for everybody, I think as soon as they can get that tied up, the better. As I said, it's not going to be a surprise that he goes this window. But sometimes these bits of the negotiation can take up to the last minutes of the window, as we've seen many times. If there's two or three clubs in for him, the club will rightly want to get the best price for him, because he's been a good signing for the club, and he can obviously make a good bit of profit. He's had a good World Cup as well. Um, I'd seen obviously the comments after the Rangers games that he wasn't on it and different things. So it's hard to say, if he was unwell or whatever. But I didn't expect him. I don't think Ange would have used him if he didn't need to. As well. You know, I think he's probably expecting him to be away anytime soon. Once the deals are sorted.
Should we be worried about the fact that he didn't want to put Bernabe on, given that Greg Taylor went off, or is it just the case that Bernabe's? I think Angie even commented on it after the game. He said he didn't want to put Bernabe into that kind of environment. I think at Tynecastle earlier this season he'd looked a bit flustered, Bernabe. Is it a case that he's just not quite at that level yet where Ange trusts him?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is trust. I think Ange doesn't. If had he trusted him, he would have put him on, and he would have been a natural left sider there. He's not built up that trust with Ange, which he needs to do. But I suppose you only get that with playing and getting opportunities. He's had to be patient in a few games out there. He's came in, he's looked okay, and he's set up a couple of goals, but he's found it hard to break in front of Greg Taylor. So again, you don't know until they put in the kind of games. They are different. The pressure and everything that goes around it, the atmosphere. Ange thought at that point maybe it wasn't the right thing to put him in and went for Juranovic over to there. So again, his confidence will take a little dent from that because he would expect it to go on. So he'll need to obviously have to deal with it and prove that he's ready the next time.
I think he'll get a run of games now. I would think, going into the matches that we've got. On the other side, Alistair Johnston making his debut. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was good for his debut. I thought he was steady. He stuck in. He's got good pace. Again, it's a new thing for him to come into the Celtic team, but I think it'll maybe take him a few games and a few sessions with Ange to see what he wants, how he wants him to play. But no, he looks he's got good attributes. He looks a good honest player.
Because I was thinking, as a fullback, when you're going into a debut like that, and the biggest match you'll play domestically, the toughest match, I would kind of want to just ease myself in and not kind of be the main man people are talking about. But, within a few minutes, he's getting fired into challenges. The first thing he does within, I think, a minute of the match is he gets the ball and kind of does a 1-2 with James Forrest and runs up the length of the park. So he wasn't, easing himself into that game at all. And I don't know if you've seen any of his interviews, but he seems like a really outgoing guy as well and, incredibly confident. And, I would like to see him being our right back now going forward. Obviously, Ralston I think will get game time as well, but in those early showings I'm quite excited about him.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the fact that he started him as well in the game, and not worked with him for very long, but he's said, I'm going to put him in. He's obviously the manager's liked what he's seen so far, how he's applied himself in training. As you said, he looks confident. He looks like he's on the front foot, which I like in fullbacks. The first thought is to get it and to win it and to get forward and to create and defending that. I always think that that's their best attribute, and I think he looked for his debut. I thought he was excellent.
In terms of a sickness bug, I did just want to touch on this. I don't think there's been too much official really at all. Ange did mention it in the lead up to the game at Easter Road that the squad was having some issues. Jota's certainly had, I think, a stomach bug, hence why he's not been able to start any of our last three matches. There's been murmurings from supporters and people maybe in the know. Have you heard anything about a potential sickness bug at Celtic? Do these things go on behind the scenes without fans really knowing the true story?
Yeah, I mean, especially this time of year, it's you pick up things and players travelling and hotels and everything else. So it's normal. It's just how you deal with it and how severe they are for the players. Are they fit enough to play? If players, if you play through heavy colds or whatever it is, sickness bugs, how quickly they can hydrate and if they can get through the match, then recover after it. Yeah, it's not anything new, to be honest. It's just making sure the players are not at risk, as you say.
Yeah, I just wonder if there was some of that going on because, some of the performances on Sunday, weren't at the level we've seen, but then again, maybe it was just one of those days and we still got a draw. A nice and easy question for you coming up, Jackie. When is a handball a penalty nowadays?
I don't know. It's. I mean, you see, I was watching the Arsenal game last night as well, and Arteta was shouting for a handball, which I didn't think was.
No, it wasn't.
But I think the Goldson is. It's again, it's so some are, some aren't. But again, I remember you asking me months ago about VAR coming in, and to say that it doesn't matter to people watching it, the people that are
Yeah.
controlling that. It's not a surprise to me. That it's maybe if it was put across to another place, not in Scotland, it would be different. But yeah, I honestly, I don't get some of the decisions. Not just the Celtic game. That's just since it started. The penalties that have been given, the penalties have not been given. It's like a toss of a coin, and sometimes the coins have got two heads on them.
Yeah, nice way to put it. Aye, it's certainly a bit frustrating for supporters. Yeah, I mean, the amount of decisions that seem to have gone against us so far with VAR, I think you could count, 7 or 8. And I was trying to think of decisions VAR has actually given us, and the only one I could think of was a penalty we got at Livingston for a handball when I think we were 3-0 up at that stage, or 2-0 up anyway. News emerged yesterday that Celtic are set for more talks with the SFA over the Connor Goldson incident. I mean, do we achieve anything from that? I guess the club are right to do it.
I think what it's doing is highlighting. It's
Yeah,
not like sort of obviously the fans talking about it and then it's in the media and different things. So what the club's doing is letting the fans know or
yeah.
letting the authorities know they're not happy with it. Which you again you just want consistency. If you've got consistency, then everybody's happy. But I think that's why the statement's there, just to say like we're aware of the decisions that's went and for us and against us, and like consistency with it. So that's for me. That's what that statement's saying.
I mean, that's my big gripe here as well. I'd hoped naively maybe that the VAR would come in and get rid of this. My take on it was you would be going to a studio where they would get loads of looks at it, which they do, and they'd be able to come to the right conclusion, which they don't every time.
Yeah,
Bernabe versus Dundee United, remember that one behind his head? O'Reilly versus Ross County. I mean, I thought those were harsh penalties, but if they are penalties, then the Goldson one has to be when his arms are in front of him. I really struggle to get my head around it. The only thing I can think of is that maybe since the World Cup, they've redefined the threshold for a handball penalty, and they've lowered it, and Celtic are facing the consequences of that, because honestly, of those three, I would say Goldson's the one that is the penalty, but I don't know.
yeah. Again, it depends who's watching it as well, who's in charge of it. That's the issue. Who's making that decision and what do they see? It still comes down to human. You can VAR and show it all day, but still someone making a decision on it, and that's always the issue. And that's again why Celtic's obviously put the stuff out and then incensed by it, because they're not happy with the decisions that are going for them or against them.
It's quite amazing when you look at all the decisions that have gone against us, and there have been a number since VAR came in. There were 9 points clear. It says a lot about the team and how they don't let these decisions get to them at all. And even at the weekend when we're denied that, or sorry, Monday when we're denied that, we still found a way to get a result in that game. The mentality of this team is brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's I mean, even going back to my day with Martin, with decisions with officials and Martin saying we always know we've got to try and outscore the opposition and don't give them any opportunities. And
Did he say
I've,
that?
yeah, there'll be things like that. But again, when you're going to certain places, things will go for you or against you. But you don't want to leave that to chance. But the mentality of the players to keep going, even when they're not playing their best, but they know they've got to get something out of the game or get back in the game and just keep pushing until the last minute. I think they've got a really good mentality about them to do that, and the amount of late goals they've scored, or even as I said when they've not been at their best, but they just keep going until they find the whistle.
Jackie, we look forward now. Things are about to heat up in 3 different competitions. In terms of the league, we've got some decent fixtures coming up to get a chance to get more wins on the board. Where are you right now with regards to the title race? Are we big favourites? Are you wanting to give the looming tabloids a headline here and say that the league is over?
Like, you never say that. I think Andrew never say that with the players, but um, because anything can happen in football, as we know. But the way the team are and the way the team's going, it'll be difficult to stop. There's only 2 more games against Rangers left in the league, even if we were to lose both of them, which I don't see us doing. Um, I think they're still strong favourites, but there's no doubt Rangers have had a you know a turnaround since Beale's came in. They're playing slightly different, but they're getting results without playing well as well, which is a good thing for a new manager coming in. His results have been okay. They nearly got a result at the weekend against Celtic, but again, Celtic's mentality to get that was a massive, massive goal. Mentally as well, just to keep that 9 point gap, which I can only see getting. Uh, I can't see them calling it back, to be honest. But yeah, but they have improved since Beale came in. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean the noise is kind of across the city are that Beale has Ange worked out and all of that kind of small victory stuff. I personally didn't really get that impression from the game. I thought Rangers were better, but we still had moments in the game. And my take on it was that was kind of us at our worst, and we still managed to pick up a result. What's the sense inside a dressing room when you know you've got that healthy advantage? Do you feel the pressure lessen at all?
No, you don't. To be honest, I think it's just more you're in when you've got that lead. You just want to keep extending it. You want to just keep winning. You win. It doesn't matter. You don't need to look at the results. If it's 1 point or 3 points, then you're looking over your shoulder a little bit. But you've got 9 points there or a good gap. Um, it doesn't matter. You expect the other team to win. So you just need to keep your own focus and win your own games, and everything will take care of itself. And that's what I'm sure Ange will be saying to the players as well. Just it doesn't matter what anybody else does. We just need to keep winning and keep that gap and try and extend the gap.
It's almost an advantage now that he doesn't look at the league table. I don't think really, Ange, or certainly doesn't admit to doing it. It's all just about Celtic performing better and better, and the points total's kind of irrelevant. It's about our performance levels and continually improving. So we're going to continue to see Celtic getting better. New signings coming in as well. We've seen Johnson. We've still got to see Kobayashi, Iwata. We might see more new signings coming in as well. So they should add a bit of kind of vibrancy to the place as well.
Yeah. You'd expect, I think Ange just said he's got to keep strengthening like every window and try and uh, get the squad to where he wants. I think you know, domestically he's doing very very well, and he'll want to get the team stronger to go and push further in Europe for next year and get the team in a good position.
What are you expecting to see this month with regards to transfers coming in and out? Do you expect, we've already said Juranovic, you think will go, bit of chat about Yakimakis as well. Do you think we'll see more players brought in?
I think if 1 or 2 go, yeah, possibly. I think Juranovic has said it's not a surprise that it'll be a surprise if he's here at the end of the window when it shuts. To be honest, Jackie Marcus, I would probably say the same. I think he's been a good signing. I think he's done well when he's played. But obviously this talk coming out of the club is that he's not extending his contract, so the club will at that point, um, cash in, maybe get somebody else to come in. They won't want to run his contract down and let him leave for nothing. So they'll have to sell him at the right time at the right price, and then I'd imagine they'll go and get another striker in if that's the case. If he does go, because I think they will need one.
Yeah. Kilmarnock on Saturday, again, it's just without being disrespectful, it's a game that we will look to win and score a few goals as well. And we've actually got them coming up 2 games in a row, one at Celtic Park and then Hampden the following week. So, a real
Yeah,
opportunity over this next couple of games, to get 3 points on the board and to get ourselves into a cup final as well. And we've got a midweek off as well next week, which is always welcome.
yeah. It's I think the game at the weekend should be a comfortable one. I think obviously Kilmarnock will have one more of an eye on the semi final. Realistically at Hampden, but yeah, I can obviously see it'll be a uh, probably an easier game at Celtic Park, dominating and just being patient and making sure they try and get the goals and finish the game. They can maybe make a few changes in that, bring players on, and obviously the game out the week after at Hampden, chance to get to the final, which I think will be a tougher match because obviously it's Hampden and they'll be up for that a bit more. You maybe come in attack a little bit more. But again, I can only see Celtic winning both games. And that.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll catch up with you next week then between the two Kilmarnock games. Thanks very much for your time once again, Jackie. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And tomorrow actually we're going to take a bit of a look at the transfer window. I'll do a bit of a preview as to what we can expect to see from Celtic. So I'll chat to you then.